Hey everybody, it's Professor Parrish, and we are getting very close to the end of the semester. So we're winding down the class, so what I want to talk about today is not only what is due this week, but also what is going to be due during finals week, because yes, we have this week and then finals week is after it, and our class is done. Insanity. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this week and finals week together because of a few different reasons. One is that next weekend I will be actually away from my computer. So I will still have my phone. I will still be able to check questions that you have. I'll be able to answer those, but I won't be able to access the software that I use to record these videos. So I am hoping that Monday, May 6th, that night I can record one final video for this class just to overview a few things, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about this week and finals week just in case it, for some reason, if something happens where I don't get to it until, let's say, Tuesday, that doesn't give us a lot of time between then and finals. So, with that being said, 2 weeks to go, or less than 2 weeks really, because our class ends on Friday, May 10th. So let us go here, and I'm recording this on Sunday, so the assignments for tonight are still due. For this week, tonight, Sunday, April 28th, you only have the discussion forum and the annotated bibliography. The bibliographies I've seen so far have been great. Maybe a few errors here and there, but the annotations have been good. The assignments have been good. If you've not watched the annotated bibliography presentation, please do that. Make sure that you have that watched and completed. And then the discussion forum has been great as well. I've really enjoyed your answers. I've been on it this week, so I have been reading and responding. If you've not done the discussion forum, please make sure that you get it and the annotated bibliography assignment that's worth 40 points, so a bit more points than our usual assignments. Make sure you have both of those turned in by tonight at 11:55. So, week 16, that is this week. We have 2 assignments, although they're fairly big assignments. One is the MLA exam. So on our final exam, we will not have MLA. Some of you are going, although I will say this, most of you have done awesome with MLA, so I feel really confident that you all will do well on this exam. It is due by Sunday, May 5th. I'm going to pull it up here. It's exactly set up the same way as our other exams have been. You get one time to take it. There's no time limit. I'll show you all what it looks like. It is basically a combination of the MLA assignments we've been doing in the class leading up to this point. So you've got some different, like this book citation, you've got to put in the right order like we did on our MLA review. And you do the same going through there. There are some where you have the option of choosing what the correct in-text citation is, and you'll pick whatever is supposed to go in the parentheses there, and you'll do that for a few. I will ask you to write the formula for a journal article, and then there's a couple of questions. There's one true and false, and a question about the order or the way that you put authors down. So if you have our MLA citation presentation downloaded, or if you can access it, it's basically going to give you, there's only 7 questions. It's worth 25 points, the same points that our last tests have been worth. There are just more points. As you can see here, there's 6 points dedicated to this first one. So it's for each part that you get in the right order. Okay? So that's pretty much it. You can always save your exam. You can exit and come back to it. Like it says here, you can resume or turn it in. It is due by Sunday, May 5th at 11:55 p.m. Should be a really easy exam. Probably the easiest one we've had so far, especially because you all have been doing exceptionally well on the annotated bibliography, on the scavenger hunt, and the MLA review. Just review my feedback for those. You should be good to go. The big thing for next week, or this coming week rather, is our peer review discussion forum. So I'm going to go to it. Basically, what you are doing is you are attaching, do not copy and paste, please attach your draft to a discussion post by Friday. If you can attach it earlier, that's awesome. I'm going to look at these throughout the week. So if you get yours attached early, that I will get to them early to give you feedback earlier. If you attach it by Friday mid-afternoon, I should get to it by Friday night. I am going to be out of town, like I said, away from my computer Saturday and Sunday. So if you attach your draft late Friday night, like some of you attach and do your forms like at 11:20, it's probably going to be Monday before I get to your draft. I'm going to try to get to them early, so if you can post early, I would encourage you to. But otherwise, I will get to your draft by Monday night so that you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to edit it and add on to it. And you don't have to wait for me to give you feedback. You can keep adding to your paper over the weekend, and then when Monday comes and I give you feedback, you can be like, okay, that part that I turned in, here's some feedback on it. And then you can just kind of integrate that feedback into your draft. When I've done discussion forums in the past, I've had that happen where my instructor was out of town for the weekend or had an emergency happen. I actually had both of those scenarios occur. So I turned in my draft, and then while I was waiting to get feedback from my peers and my instructor, I just kept working on it. I was like, well, I'm going to keep adding to it. And then when they did give me feedback, I could go back and edit what they had talked about in their review. So don't feel like if you turn your draft in Friday night that you have to wait on me to get back to you. You can keep working on the paper, and then when I do get back to you, you can incorporate those changes into your draft. However, like I said, if you turn your draft in before noon on Friday, I'm going to definitely get to it before I'm gone on Saturday. But if you turn yours in really late Friday night, I probably won't get to it till Monday, or at least Sunday night late, I will get to it. All right. So yeah, if you don't know how to attach to the post, I'll show you how to do it, because I don't think we've had the chance. I'm going to go back to regular view and show you how to do this. So this is how I see your forum. So I'm going to go to the last forum. It's our last discussion forum of the semester. Aw. And I'm going to add post. I'm going to label it paper number 4 draft. You can add any questions that you have about the draft. So I might be like, here is my draft. What do you think? Do all of my points flow and connect well? Might say that. Just questions you have about the draft, you can go ahead and ask those. So what I would do to attach a file is you have the option. You can either choose the file from if you've saved it onto your MySIC, or you can choose from your computer. I would just choose from your computer because chances are it's saved on there. So I could choose from my computer. I'll browse for the file. Let's say I'm going to pick this one. And then I'm going to click Add. Now it should show up as a link. See? Shows up as a link. If you attach the wrong file on accident, you can always delete it and add again. But if I am happy with that file and I know that that's my draft, then I'm going to click Submit. And you can always preview it first to see what it'll look like. So it'll look like that with the attached file, and then you click Submit. That is how I want you to do the peer review. And the reason for that is that if a student just copies and pastes their whole paper into the forum file, into this post, if I just copy and paste my whole paper into that post, it loses all of its formatting. And then that doesn't tell me a couple of things. It won't tell me how long your paper is unless I go and physically copy and paste your content into an actual Word file, which I will, because I just need to check. But also, your peers can't edit it if it's like this. They can't edit it if it's like that. If I open up a file, your peers can go in, they can highlight things, they can make changes, they can point out things. I can do that. I can point out things and highlight and make notes or comments. If you just copy and paste it into the actual post, I can't do any of that. So you're not going to get as much feedback from me if you just copy and paste it. And we don't get a chance to revise paper 4. Once you turn it in, even if you turn it in on May 6th on Monday and you're like, hey, can you look at that and then get back to me by Friday? Nope. I've said from week 1, paper 4 is the one we don't revise. We treat this discussion forum as your chance to get revision notes. Which is why in the last week's video, I said you want to make sure that you get as much content as you can into this draft so you get as much feedback as possible. Okay? So, just make sure that you don't copy and paste the paper into your discussion post. Instead, you attach it like it is here. That way I can open it and give you feedback. Okay, so I'm going to cancel because I don't want to post in the forum. All right. Please make sure it's either a rich text format, which is RTF, a Word document, which is .doc or .docx, you can do either, or a PDF format. Although, I will say this, if it's a Word document or a rich text format, I can edit those, and those are preferred. I will still accept a PDF because I can open it on my computer, but I can't physically edit those. So you're just going to get a glossed over summary of changes you can make, but it won't be in depth like the DOC and RTF files will be. So just keep that in mind. You do need to read at least 2 of your peers' drafts. Students always respond in their course evaluations that they enjoy this part because they like to see what each other write about. They like to review each other's work. And this is a safe space. So obviously we want critique. We want constructive criticism. So the worst thing you can do this week in a post is say, "That was great. Keep it up." Because that doesn't tell your peer anything. All it says is, okay, so I should get 100 on this paper, right? Very rarely do students get 100% on this paper, unless they just cranked out an 8-page draft and we went through it line by line and they got all the grammar correct. They had everything mapped out. I mean, if you want to prep that hard and make it good, do it. And you may get 100%, but most students, they just turn in like the 4 pages they need to for the draft, and then they add on later, and they may have grammar errors, they may have citation errors, they may have formatting errors. That's why I say try to get as much done as possible so you can get the highest grades, since we don't have a revision on this paper. But the best thing you can do is that obviously you want to be respectful to their writing. You all have spent a lot of time on these papers, and your peers have spent a lot of time on these papers, so be respectful of that. Absolutely, if there's stuff that you like about the paper, point it out, but also be specific. So if a person's introduction is amazing, be like, "I love your introduction. The way that you set up your points is great." If you like a certain part of the body paragraphs, explain that. And if there are things missing or things that the student should add, I mean, give them constructive criticism and be honest. Say, "Hey, this is a great paper for A, B, and C, but I noticed you don't have any in-text citations. Make sure to add those." I mean, we are there as a class to build each other up and to make sure our writing is as good as it can be. And, sometimes note in your post if you're like, "Hey, I know I don't have in-text citations, but I'm going to add them later. This is just a draft." Let us know that, because I wish I was Professor X. I would totally, I don't know if I could rock a bald look. Maybe not. But I would like to be telepathic and be like, "Oh yeah, that's what you're thinking." Unfortunately, I'm not. So make sure that you tell us in your discussion post, like, "Hey, I know the conclusion's not done. I know I'm missing the works cited page. I know I'm missing in-text citations, but I'm going to put them in there just so we know, so somebody doesn't put on their post, 'Hey, you forgot in-text citations.'" And you're like, "I know." With that being said, I would try to make sure that you have a works cited page in your draft, at least somewhat constructed, and that you are putting in-text citations. And the reason for that is that will give me a chance to give you feedback on that. So if there are any mistakes, or if there are things missing, I can give you feedback and you can correct them before you turn in the final product. All right. Other than that, the drafts are just due by Friday night for full credit. If you don't get to turn them in Friday night, that's okay. Turn them in Saturday, turn them in Sunday. Just make sure that you do get a paper draft submitted. I have had students in the past that are scared to turn in their paper draft. They've procrastinated, maybe they haven't worked on it, and that's fine. But come Sunday night, they don't turn in a draft into the discussion forum like they're supposed to. And I've had students contact me that finals week and say, "Hey, I didn't turn in my draft in the forum, but can you look at it now?" And I won't, because the assignment was to turn it in by that due date. You all are busy. You all have lots of things to do and lots of prep for finals week. I have lots of prep for finals week and I'm busy as well. So that's why I keep to our deadlines. If you turn it in by Sunday at 11:55, I promise you I will look at it and give you feedback. as much feedback as I can give. But if you don't turn it in by that deadline, you're going to be on your own for this final paper, because that's the deadline and we have to meet those. So just please be aware of that. And it's pretty strict, okay? But with that being said, I've only had that happen a few times. Most everyone else in this class will turn it in by Sunday night. I look at it, I enjoy it, I get excited, I give you feedback, and then you do that final push finals week to get the final draft turned in. Speaking of finals week, let's talk about that. It's finals week in this class is pretty simple. Right now, as you can see, you can't see this, but I can. Your final exam is not visible yet, but I will open it up on Sunday, May 5th. It doesn't give me, actually, as just show you, kind of like pull back the Wizard of Oz curtain, the software that I use on here doesn't let me give an open date to exams, which is kind of odd. But I'm going to open it up on Sunday so that you all have access to it. The final paper draft is set to open on Sunday at midnight. So you will be able to turn in your final drafts starting Sunday. Please, and I can't stress this enough, please do not turn in your final draft until I have given you feedback. I have had some students get overly zealous, and let's say they turned in their draft into the discussion forum on Friday night. I didn't have time to get to it until Sunday afternoon or Sunday night. I go in there and they've already turned their final draft in, and I'm like, ooh, you had some changes to make. And they're like, well, can't I just resubmit it? And I'm like, no. So please wait until I give you feedback. Now, once I give you feedback, like if I give you back feedback on your draft Monday morning, and you're like, got it, making changes, Monday night you can submit the final paper and be done. I'm totally fine with that. Just please make sure that I have given you feedback on your paper before you submit it. The only exception is if, unfortunately, you forget to turn in your draft that Sunday night. Those are the only two assignments for finals week, is just the final exam and paper 4. And the drop box for paper 4 is exactly like the drop boxes that we've done for all of our other papers in this class. The test, if I go to test builder on here, the test is set up of 3 parts. There is no MLA on the final exam. The first part is fiction. There's multiple choice, matching, short answer, short essays. The second part is poetry. There's no matching for poetry, but it's all short answer or multiple choice. And then drama is the smallest part. There's a matching section, multiple choice, and short answers. All of you, how I do my final exam is every part is mixed up. So person A may open up their final exam and it start with fiction. Person B may open up their final exam and it starts with poetry. So I mix it up. That's just the way I've always done the final exam. It is open book. So I hope that you all have kept your textbooks up until this point, because our final exam is open book. It's open notes. You can use any lecture notes, any lecture video notes, anything on this final exam. It may take you a little while to get through it, and that's fine. It's not timed, so you can save your answers. You can go back to the test. You can whittle it away throughout the week. Like if you want to spend 20 minutes on it at a time, or if you want to do one section at a time and then move on, come back to it, you can do it however you like. But please spend some time on this final exam. I can't tell you how many students just zoom through it, and it's 100 points. It's not 100 questions, but it's worth 100 points. And I've had a lot of students get D's on it or C's on it because they spent like 20 minutes on the final exam, and I'm like, it's not enough time. It's not a hard final exam. If you've done well on the tests in the past, all these questions are taken from those tests. So it's all just cumulative information we've gathered. Just take your time on it and you will do fine. I was not a test taker in high school or in college, so I try to make our tests pretty easygoing, and then the papers are what I want to focus on, because the papers, I believe, are what really show your skill as a writer in this class, that you're capable of writing a good essay. That's what I'm looking at mainly. All right. But yeah, one important note, and I will stress this next week when I do our final video for this class, the final exam and paper 4 drafts must be turned in by Friday, May 10th at 11:55 p.m. SIC's graduation is Friday night, and I'm going to be going to it, so hopefully, I've had most of you online. I'm going to talk about this next week too, so if you see me at graduation and you're like, hey, Miss Parrish, and I give you a look like, be like, I'm in your online class, and I'll be like, oh yeah, awesome, we finally get to see each other face to face, woo! Just make sure to tell me that. But the final exam and the final paper, our entire class shuts down at 10:55 p.m. So after 10:55 p.m. on Friday, we are no longer teacher and student. We can be best friends. No, I'm kidding. We can be friends though. But I will no longer be your teacher after 10:55 p.m. on Friday, and you will no longer be a student in this class. It will all be, everything will shut down, and then my weekend will go into grade mode to get all the grades entered for the week after. And I'll talk more about that next week too, on how grading works and that. But please make sure that you get your assignments turned in by Friday night, May 10th. Last semester was the first semester in a long time that I had everybody turn in their assignments on time. I can't tell you how many semesters prior to that, one or two people will forget. They'll be in that mindset where they're thinking it's going to be Sunday due date. And then come Sunday, they'll say, hey, I didn't do my final exam. Can I submit that? And unfortunately, the answer is no, because our college policy is that everything shuts down at 10:55 on Friday night. So please don't forget that. Write it in your planner, write it on your hand, put it on the fridge, put it on a Post-it, whatever you need to do to make sure you remember that everything's due Friday night by 10:55 p.m. Okay? Not a minute more, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. Okay? 11:55 p.m. on May 10th is when your exam and your paper 4 final draft will be due. All right? And I will open up those drop boxes starting Sunday, May 5th. So you'll have time to get those assignments done. All right? That's pretty much it for this week. I am excited to see what you all do. The peer review forum is one of my favorites because not only do I think that it gives you a chance to show off your writing to your peers, it gives you a chance to see your peers' work, and it gives me a chance to see kind of everybody come together for this final, because we've all talked to each other in the discussion forum. Chances are you probably know somebody in the class. Maybe you take face-to-face classes with them. Maybe they're from your high school. I mean, we all kind of know each other probably from a certain aspect or a certain situation. And this is our chance to kind of come together as a class and show off what you've been working on the last 3 weeks, hopefully. But yeah, if you have questions as we go into the forum, if you have any questions to ask before you submit your draft, feel free to let me know. I will be in my office off and on this week. Probably in the afternoons are a better chance to catch me, or you can always call. You can email me anytime with questions, and I will get back to you. All right? So good luck on working on this draft for Friday's peer review post, and I can't wait to read your work. All right? I'll talk to you all next week, but in the meantime, good luck on the paper, good luck on the MLA exam, and I look forward to reading your essays. All right? Bye, everybody.